Welcome to Grawlix Nights, the Grawlix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
Hey, what's going on? We've got so many things. We seriously have so many things. I gathered so much news. We're going to talk about entertainment news. Might get into a little gossip. Might get a little salty. We're definitely going to get a little salty because we had to stop our conversation what we were talking about just before we hit live, go live button. Because we were about to get salty.
That's right.
And you, imaginary future viewers, you better show up. I want to see some people in the chat.
Yeah.
Talking.
Derail us.
Derail us. It's what we thrive on.
Sorry.
Okay. I do want to continue this conversation real quick. We were just talking about just briefly, we're just talking about how the social networks they're dying, and a lot of it's greed. And then we mentioned, and we're talking about TikTok and their weird creators fun thing, blah blah blah. We don't have to get into all that. But the thing I wanted to mention is I noticed is YouTube. I hate YouTube's constant push for premium. YouTube Premium or Plus or Red's dead, right? I don't.
Red's dead. Yeah.
It's just premium. I hate the constant push for it. And they're doing the thing, and they've already done it in the past, of paywalling features that previously were not paywalled. And it's a minor thing, but I noticed, when you, on the phone, I cast to the TV a lot with a Chromecast, so I use my phone to navigate. You can they have an option to add a video next in the queue. So if you had a bunch of videos queued up, you can be like, oh, I want to watch this one next. That's paywalled now. And I'm like...
Oh, gross.
What a stupid... I mean, it's not a major feature, but it's right at the top of the list. It's got a P there now, and you click it wants you to pay for premium, and I'm like, and this is how
it's they're trying to redeem their YouTube Red. They're trying to redeem their dead Red. It's like a dead Red redemption.
Oh, no. Well, years ago, they did the same thing where, because if you're on a phone... Speaking of phones, I should put mine on silent. What an amateur rookie move.
Was that TikTok I heard?
No, it's just reminding me that Grawlix Nights is going on.
Oh, hey, it's going on. When? When's that supposed to happen?
Well, it's supposed to happen at 8, but... Oh, I even have this on Do Not Disturb. Oh, no, maybe I just turned that on. Anyway, they already did this with, when you're on your phone, you used to be able to play a video and then navigate to other apps. And that was one of the first, it's available. Nope, it's paywall things now. I remember getting kind of irritated about with YouTube. But, man, I don't know. I just hate... Instantly, Twitter popped in my head. It's if you do not have a service or have additional features that you can add on to a pre-existing free thing to make it worth for people to buy it, paywalling the previously free features is such a crappy way to go about it. It just goes... Yeah. It's you don't have anything better to offer, do you? You're just going to paywall stuff that's already available. Right. I hate that.
Yeah, and it's just not a smart thing to do because that's just going to make people leave your platform. Adding things on and making those things, charging for them, that makes sense. And it's more value, and people will pay for value. Taking things away, that just makes people be like, oh, you don't care about my, usership or something. And then they'll leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Melanie, will you jiggle some of your cables? Maybe tweak a knob just slightly back and forth for a second, and then... Okay. Talk at me.
Anything? Okay, I'm talking.
Well, no, that's fine. I just want to get it consistent again, because it kept, it sounded like there's, whatever, when there's a short or something, and, your volume's it's a little crackly.
I don't know. The only cord I have that's touching anything button-wise is my speaker or my headphones thing, and I moved it off of there now, so hopefully it won't do it anymore.
All good. Yeah, no, you sound good now. This is my never-ending battle against trying to get the volume right on podcasts in general.
Right.
But when I give up on that battle, then you have a year and a half worth of live stream replays that are unwatchable because the volume is horrible. You can't hear one of the hosts. The other hosts are like distorting, like.
Well, I think we should just be grateful that we can push our voices through electrons, through wires, into the world, and just be happy about that.
I'm not.
My wife and I, we just went on a walk before the broadcast. It was like, remember when schools didn't all have air conditioning? Remember when air conditioning was a luxury?
Yeah, that was my school when I was growing up. We had radiator heaters, so it really sucked because if you weren't by that wall, it was freezing in the winter, and in the summer it was like we all had to bring water bottles in the summer, or in the summerish months, because it was so hot that kids would pass out sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Let's go back to the good old days. No,
yeah, right.
No, of course, technology is amazing. I just want it to be consistent. Mm-hmm. Because when it's not consistent, it makes it look like user error. And I ain't no amateur.
Right.
We've been doing this for a long time.
Mm-hmm. But we're not getting paid, so we're still amateurs, I think. Technically.
I mean, we get paid.
It's not for lack of trying. Let me tell you how you can get all your vitamins and minerals.
Nope.
No?
I don't know.
Just one serving a day.
I don't even know. Oh, we should Grawlix salt. We need to make some salt.
Ooh.
That's the brand integration we
Yeah.
need.
That's
Get
right.
salty.
That or pizza or sandwiches.
Hey, real quick. This is tied to both of those, and I kind of want to get this out of the way.
Oh, yeah?
Did you know StreamYard is the easiest way to create content right in your browser? It is pretty easy.
Yeah.
And you can multi-stream. Just don't cross the streams.
Oh, no,
or
never.
do. Are we crossing the streams, streaming multiple Facebook? Like, is that what happens? Is that the worry?
Maybe. I don't know.
You can multi-stream to your social media platforms, host a weekly show with special guests, create webinars, record podcasts with local recordings. That's huge.
Yeah.
Create videos and more. So far, and it relates to my work because I have a lot of experience with this. So far, I've been pretty happy with and impressed with the StreamYard, like local live record or the local recordings, where it'll record audio and video of each of us. It's not recording Melanie. I mean, I'll get audio from her anyway, but Melanie's on an old Chromebook, and so it's not working on there.
Yeah, it says every time I get on that it's not compatible with the recording.
Right. But if you're on a PC, I have not tried it with a phone. It seems to be pretty good. You could host a weekly show with special guests.
We are special.
Yes, we are. Create webinars, record podcasts with local... Oh, I've already read this, huh? Hey, and they make it easy to brand and customize your videos inside the studio before you go live. That is one advantage. Like, compared to, like, Riverside, we tried to stream with Riverside before. And, like, maybe they've changed it, but there was, like, no control. I'm sure they don't want us to actually mention the competitors while we're doing this ad read.
Well, for
I mean, other services where you can
other
stream and
services.
record locally. That's kind of like the big draw of StreamYard is being able to set this type of stuff.
Set the
This type of stuff up.
stage.
Yeah.
It's super
Yeah.
easy.
And also, I'm sorry, this is just from an editing perspective. Some of the competitors are actually, a lot of them, well, you can't have multiple people talk at the same time or it just ruins the recording. And this one, it does not. And not advertising, just in real speak, this one is the best one as far as editing goes for the quality of the recording.
Yeah, and I'd be curious, like, we never do these without our headphones on, but I'd be curious because that's what I think derails a lot of other services is if you don't have your headphones on, you got to put, like, echo removal or noise, whatever it is.
Oh,
Right.
echo cancellation or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that makes the recordings wacky. I should do some more experimentation with StreamYard, but so far I've not experienced that with StreamYard. Hey, it's a popular tool amongst live streamers, video creators, YouTubers, and podcasts with features like live streaming, webinars, local recording, a whole bunch of other stuff. It's a simple way to get professional and polished content every time. Get started for free at StreamYard.com.
Yep, but then you have to have the duck. But that's cool. Ducks are cool. They're a little evil, but they're cool.
Yeah. The duck sits up there, watches your every move.
That might be, so obviously that was kind of a sponsored read, right?
Really? Are you sure?
StreamYard's very hands-off with these things. I wonder how Grawlix, how we would do with one of those like sponsors that's not hands-off, that they want to they want to like, really
You want a really specific
scrutinize.
read? Yeah.
Because I think, although I may have goofed directly mentioning competitors, that was our most honest type read. I mean, other than the fact that I'm reading it off screen, but we actually had things to say because we've been using StreamYard to live stream almost every episode we've done since we've started live streaming these to like Facebook and Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey, I'm not just a customer. No, I am just a customer. What's that saying? I'm not just a customer. No, I'm not just the president. I'm the whatever.
I'm also, yeah. It was a hair club for men.
I got it all mixed up.
I'm not just the owner.
Hair be there.
So, okay, let's get beyond all that.
Yep.
We have things to talk about. We have some news items. Do we want to jump right into the AI stuff? Because kind of derail us a little.
It's kind of it's timely because the show is out right now.
Right. So I have not been watching Secret Invasion. I do want to watch it, but I've done a great purge of many of the streaming services. It was time. At least for a little bit. It was time. HBO Max. I mean,
we
Max.
don't have the money for it.
Hey, you shut your mouth. No, we could have the money for it, but like money is, sometimes money gets tight and you constrict on things.
Yeah.
I still got to pay $50 a month or $60 a month for that Adobe freaking subscription because that's my work stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
So sometimes when things get tight, the streaming services got to go because they're not required.
And everything wants a subscription now. Plugins want subscriptions. It's ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous.
I accidentally paid for a plugin subscription. A plugin should... Well, actually, this one was cheaper. A Premiere Pro plugin, and I don't think I'm going to end up using it. And I didn't cancel it fast enough after the trial. Anyway.
You know what I sorry, real quick. I'm sorry. I know we're trying to move on, but I heard that Microsoft is going to start like put their stuff in the cloud and then be subscription based. If that happens, I don't know what the world's going to come to.
Well, some of it I think already is. Like I think isn't Office already?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I still use
Office
old Office.
Oh yeah, yeah, most people do.
Yeah, no, all that Microsoft Office stuff went subscription. Not necessarily cloud based, but it went subscription years ago at this point. I mean, I've already heard talk of Windows 12, and I'm like, are you serious? How many people have actually migrated over to Windows 11 yet?
No one.
Is this just a complete failure? I mean, it has been okay, but I know, like Jesse, you've had problems with it.
It was a superfluous thing. Like I don't see a whole lot of. It's almost purely cosmetic in my mind. Most of the stuff that I use is still, it's still the old stuff that's always been there, and it's like, okay, well, you've got your settings, but I just need control panel. I'll just search for control panel, just like Windows XP and Vista and everything else. And then I lost my headphone jack. Like, I don't think my headphone jack works for anything now. It doesn't even work for headphones. It used to at least work for that.
I'm sorry, I wasn't saying that you were nobody. I just didn't.
Oh, no. Yeah,
Sorry.
no. I just assumed that it had been out long enough. Like, I usually wait, and I was like, I've said decline to the Windows upgrade for so long that's like, surely they've got Service Pack 2 out by now, because that's the running joke, is that you never trade over until they've got Service Pack 2 out.
The worst is essentially older machines obsolete because you can't upgrade all computers to Windows 11. You've got to have a certain kind of processor, and it's for security reasons. But it means there's a whole lot of computers currently running Windows 10 that after Windows 10, like they stopped doing security updates, you can't do anything with it anymore. I mean, I guess go to Linux or there's probably people still running like Windows 7 XP on some machines, so who knows? But
Yeah. I wish I didn't have to have Windows 10 because I think it's a piece of crap, and I hate Cortana, and you can't get rid of it.
you can turn it off. Your computer's weird though. I had Windows
can't
10
really.
Pro, so maybe that was the difference.
You
This
can
is
turn it-
beside
okay,
the
you-
point.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's move on.
AI. How did we get here?
It's Cortana AI, sort of.
So Secret
Kinda.
Invasion. Jesse, you had mentioned a little bit. You have been watching it.
Yep.
So
There's
before
only
we
2
jump into
episodes
this-
out, and
Okay.
it's really good. It's got that spy vibe. If you read the original Secret Invasion, it was very superhero centric. This is taking more the human approach and how the Skrulls have infiltrated human society and how they could actually interact and interface with that. Because, like, I don't know what this new phase has done with MCU, but it's like they've kind of dialed back superheroes in general. You know, like as far as superheroes go, who do you have left? You got Spider-Man, I guess, sort of, because he's kind of Sony. You've got Doctor Strange, but he's off traveling other universes, you know, multiverse. You've got Captain America, who is a souped-up army guy. You know, like superheroes are just. It seems like they have a diminished presence in the MCU at current. You know, because there really isn't an Avengers group. And so this is kind of like, what would this, you know, let's say the Skrulls secretly all came here and we just wouldn't know. And they've been slowly taking over and causing, you know, political mayhem of their own. And we just didn't know because everything's so crazy the way it is that we just assumed it was normal.
Like the reptiles. No, I'm just
The reptile people.
Yeah.
No, I mean
those
it's
people. Yeah.
it's a great premise, and I definitely do want to check it out. And it's Samuel L. is the main. Come
And
on.
I think he's got a lot to do with it. Like I was commenting today on this second episode, it's like, I think he wrote that scene. That sounds like him talking about his
Yeah.
life.
Okay, fun.
I saw an article. I didn't read it, but it was like Samuel L. Jackson says that he'll continue playing Nick Fury until Marvel stops paying him, and I'm like, of course he will. Are you kidding? This is Samuel
Yeah.
L. Jackson. Why would
He's
you even
such
need
a-
that article?
He's always good, but he's such a paycheck actor. He just
Right.
works endlessly.
Yes,
and he
exactly.
Would do almost anything. It's interesting because I guess there's enough. He gets offered enough that he gets enough high profile stuff that it doesn't ever drag his name down, right? But
Right.
there's actors who will do like anything, like Nicolas Cage, kind of for a while. He's had a bit of a renaissance again, but multiple renaissances. But for a while, it was like, oh, Nicolas Cage is in something, and it meant that something was probably not going to be good, just because he would just take anything.
Bruce
But-
Willis ended up that way before he retired.
Ooh, real bad, real bad.
Yeah.
A lot of people walked back the trash talk too after it was revealed it was like disease issue.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway, so let's talk about AI, because that I know I had not watched it until the intro until tonight, and I know, of course, I had seen the headlines, and I'm sure people are very upset that Marvel used AI to generate this intro. Jesse, what have you been hearing about this? You're more in touch with the artist community, because I know you follow people who are staunchly anti-AI, because I've unfollowed some of those people because I'm just like, man, whatever.
Right.
What are you hearing?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's basically what you would expect. You know, they were like, this is one of the biggest corporations in the world, and they're using a computer to generate their title card, right?
Right.
And so like that's begs the question of like, how many artists did that put out of work? You know, because there's a lot of artists who probably work just on that title card, if that was their job, right? Like, But you know, I don't know. So I'll just go ahead and give my opinion on it. It's like, if you were ever going to do it, this is the show to do it for. You know, like, I think there's somebody working on it too. I mean, like, the people who are really frustrated with it have never had to do it.
Right.
So they don't know how much work
100%.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
100%.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Okay, but AI just doesn't poop this stuff out on its own. There are artists working on it that are working with the AI to produce it.
Right.
At least one, if not multiple. And
So
it was really good, so there probably are multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Melanie, did you have more thoughts on that?
No, that was it.
My thoughts on this, watching this, knowing how people react to AI art stuff. I think it's interesting. I mean, at this point, there's such a negative, like, general feeling from a lot of people against AI art that the specific style, because it does have a specific, it's unmistakable, like, at this point, the
Right.
look, and which is going to feel very dated at a certain point, but that's okay. That's what you do. Like, it's very timely. It's of the now. So that aside, like, it looks great. And as someone who has made multiple AI art assisted animations, this took a lot of work. And people are like, how many artists did this put out of work? None, because the same people who
Right.
would have been making this title, this intro in the first place, were making this intro.
Yeah.
Right.
That is not easy to get it to generate that consistently and that specific. That took, like, watching it more so than maybe other, like, animation things or CG stuff. I'm sure take a lot of people and a lot of effort. But since I've I've worked quite a bit with AI animation, watching it, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, that's not easy. That's a lot of trial. That's a lot of effort. That's a lot of input. And it's not like they're just like, boop, 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 intro, and they're taking straight sequences. Then they're taking whatever they're getting out of the AI and then manipulating it. Like, it's still getting
Right.
all the, you know, visual effects, After Effects, compositing. Like, they're still doing all of that. So the idea that, oh, it's lazy, man, it's like Jesse, like you said, you've never worked with
Yeah.
any of
Right.
these, yeah.
It probably would have been, at this point, CGI is so, like, commonplace. It probably would have been easier for them to do something else.
Right, right. And another thing, for sure, they started with some actual artwork and then had the AI play off of that. So there's still original work in there.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's 100% right. You can't get stuff that specific and that consistent
crisp.
without inputting some images or video or something
Yeah.
like that. And I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. It's
Yeah.
interesting because it's like they don't pull away from that specific look, because you can generate stuff now that doesn't necessarily have that almost disco diffusion slight dreaminess.
Yes.
But they
Yeah.
embraced that dreaminess. I actually kind of miss the disco diffusion dreaminess. Stable diffusion doesn't really have the same quality, and this has a little bit of that disco diffusion feel to it. I really liked it.
Yeah.
They should have gone even harder, I think, and had the one where they make video and it's all evil things trying to chew on everything.
Right. All right.
That would have been fun.
And it's also super interesting because this is a case, and we haven't got to see a lot of this. I mean, Corridor Digital's done some work with AI animation stuff, obviously. Pretty impressive. But you haven't got to see a lot of big studio money or big studio teams or small effects studio hired by a big studio, whatever, try to work specifically with AI, embracing that aesthetic. So that's interesting. People will get over it eventually, because if you are in the know, like if you know how to do this stuff, or if you're not just really stuck into your certain niche where you're like, I don't care about other tools, I do this and I don't like it because they took our jobs or something. I mean, I can't help you there. But if you like, the best fit I've seen when the animation started kind of blowing up, there's been a lot of like 27-year-old industry veteran animator reacts to this, and at first they're, of course they're like, oh, but then they like actually see people working with it, and they're like, oh, this could save me so much time doing this. I wouldn't have to do the shading on every single frame, stuff like that. It's like, yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. That's why it's so frustrating when people are just like, no AI art, and it's like, you're missing the point.
Right. You don't see, if you were to go back in time and like reintroduce Photoshop, or to be there at the time when Photoshop was introduced, people were freaking out about that too. It's like, well, what's the point of even being a photographer now? Like, you don't even have to know how to take a real photo. You can just change it. No, you still need to know how to do a real photo.
Right. That's not to say using AI probably made the project of working on this faster. I'm sure it did, but that's kind of, like you said, the jump, Photoshop, the jump to that. Any like major advancement is to be able to accomplish these things so much faster.
Right. Like there were certain things about this that it probably really sped up. And then there were other parts that, in order to refine it, and like you said, get that refined look about it, that took a lot more time.
It's just interesting because I like it because using AI stuff, because it helps me achieve things that I wouldn't be able to necessarily do on my own. And it's way faster to achieve certain things. Of course, it's AI and it's frustrating. So it also slows you down because you got to work against it sometimes. But it's interesting with this because, Marvel can hire artists to do these specific things frame by frame. But why? Like, and maybe they did. Maybe it was trained on their stuff. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But they were going for a specific thing. And I feel like the weird, creepy, not quite human, especially when there's people, not quite natural element of it fits Secret Invasion thematically super well.
Yeah, you've got aliens that literally morph from their personal, form into a human form. And that's what this title card does.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I'm glad when you sent that to me and I watched it and I was like, oh no, yeah, I have things I can say about this because
what I just thought it was like we've like ham-fisted getting AI art into our live streams. It's like now there's actually a live stream thing we should be talking about. Maybe we should talk about it.
Just this last week or so. Just this last week or so, I was using it a lot to piece together a character that I want to animate. And it's great for that. I like the idea
He's adorable.
You like it? A cute little robot guy?
Yeah.
And it's sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
And it's great for being able to take and generate a thing and pull elements, or like you start with like, okay, I had this idea. This is what I want the robot to look like. And I'll generate a bunch of stuff and be like, yeah, no, this, and then I piece it together and it fills in. Like, I can't draw a photorealistic metal plate for this robot's face, but AI can generate it super quick. And really all you got to do is put in a square and be like, there, I want this to be a metal plate. That's kind of simplifying things, but
right.
Yeah. Point is, it's great. And the low effort, it's the same with any artwork thing. There's technology that makes anything easier to do, but the low effort, people will always get tired of the low effort stuff. That's not the stuff that's going to stand out. So this like idea of like, well, anybody can do anything. First off, you're gatekeeping. And second off, like, if it's low effort with AI art, at least you're like, oh, that looks cool. But if it's low effort, eventually people get tired of be like, oh, can you do this? And they're like, oh, I can do a model looking girl. Right. Yeah, but I want this. Okay, here's an anime girl. No, but I want this,
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anime girls and model looking.
Oh yeah. There's
female.
like 3. I got 2. Was that Jenna Maples was like, I got 3 looks. Right. Basically what a lot of these really stripped down AIs have is like just the AI filter where it's just like this is you as a Viking. Boop. And now you are like everybody looks the same slightly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't got to mess with Adobe Firefly yet, but I am excited about like Adobe and stuff also adopting those tools because, and it's really kind of one of the things they were selling it on is something I was doing a while back where I was doing like those fake movie posters or whatever, but then I'd take text, a picture of text, and AI still doesn't do text well, right? But if you take text, it knows the shapes, and if you could be like, I wanted it to look like the text was made out of like sticks or something, and like tell it like textures and stuff like that, it will put the textures and make sticks out of those text shapes and give some really cool, basically different fonts. And that I think would be huge for graphic designers and people that use
that, and just being able to
Illustrator.
like describe a texture and get results that are close, you know.
There was some backlash for Adobe stuff because Adobe was selling it on like also like, hey, this is scraped on like public domain images and our own Adobe stock. And great, it's basically what's like cruelty free AI like model, right? Or whatever.
Funny. Yeah.
But then like some of the people that submitted the stock images were upset. It's like, you sold your stock. You sold your photos to like. Adobe can legally do anything, and some people are like, "Well, legally they can, but morally, it's like, no." First off, it's a business. It doesn't care about you morally. You signed the contract, and second off, like morally, what are you talking about? You sold it to stock,
so that anyone could use it.
Anyone can do anything they want with that. Like, it's out of your hands.
Yeah, and
I
bravo
think,
to you because you're kind of a hero in that regard, you know, depending on where morally you fall, I guess.
Right.
Right.
And people, whatever. So some
I feel like we've tread this ground before too. It's like Sherlock Holmes, man. How many cool Sherlock Holmes things wouldn't we have if there wasn't public domain, you know? And same thing with stock stuff. And now that's just like another talking point in this ongoing AI debate.
Right. Okay, you're right, though. We have tread this ground before. But I'm glad you brought that up, Jesse, because that's good. That's a really good talking point.
Yeah.
Because we love talking about AI. We love talking about AI and getting salty about people who are salty about it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, this is ruining the business.
Not that I can't understand the motivations behind those feelings, but, like, don't be a blockbuster, man. It is fear. Yeah.
You're afraid of it. Now, if you could if you could understand why you're afraid of that, and you could push past that, and you could see the forest for the trees, you're going to realize, A, this thing's not going away. It's only going to get better. And B, if you could embrace it and use it, then you're less likely to get left behind.
It's super interesting, and I feel like I might have actually said this on the show before. I apologize. It's super interesting watching that fear move from community to community online, because obviously the AI art stuff that started there huge, but not that month, 2 months tops, it hit the music because a couple of like scary music models came out, so it hit the music community. And I've seen a lot of,
and then it hit this writer's strike too. You know, it's like
right.
You know, yes, you can have AI writers, but you better have real ones too. We want it. Right. We want writers to be protected from AI, like they aren't going to be using it.
AI writing, I don't know. Anyone who's like, all right, AI, generate me a novel or TV show or movie length story. You're not going to get anything good. Not to say it won't happen eventually, but again, the tools are amazing, but like anybody who thinks it's just an automatic like.
But my argument against that has been like, this is just going to allow you to do that stuff now. Like the copywriting you were doing to pay the bills. Well, now you've got AI for that. Now you can go pursue your passion. I mean, like, yeah, it's scary. You're going to have to do something else because this is, now you don't have to do that. But you can learn to do something else, maybe something you wanted to do all along.
You know,
And,
it's
I
interesting.
mean,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
maybe I'm crazy, but it still seems to me that it's better than it was, but it still doesn't seem like it's really all that good. Everything that it says is still a little bit ridiculous. And if we want to accept ridiculousness, then that says some more about us as a society than it does about freaking AI. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Well, you're still gonna have people. People are like, you're still gonna have to have oversight of this stuff, or else you'll end up with, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
like that Twitch stream of endless Seinfeld or whatever, which will
Yeah.
eventually go on like homophobic Nazi rants or something. Like, you still got to have some
Right.
oversight to be like, man, it did really good. This is an interesting idea. I like these scenes, but then the story goes off the rails. And
Yeah.
to fix
Still
this.
needs. You still need an editor. You still need QA.
Yeah.
You still need, like you said, oversight.
Another one real quick. I thought this was great. Bella, my niece, was telling me that the teacher's teaching assistant, her whole thing this end of the year was running all these papers through a program to make sure they weren't written by AI. And I'm like, that's hilarious. Like, that's her entire job for the end of the year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I seen a story on Reddit a few weeks ago, before the Reddit kerfluffle. I still go to Reddit, but it's definitely not as useful as it was.
Right.
But some college professor had flunked all of his students because he took their papers. He asked ChatGPT, "Could you write this paper?" Pasted the paper in, and of course, every time ChatGPT was like,
could.
"Yeah, I could write this paper. This could be AI." And it's like, dude. You don't know how it works. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
Right.
The ChatGPT is not a ChatGPT checker. It's going to tell you whatever it feels like telling you.
Yeah.
And if you ask it something like that, it's definitely going to tell you yes.
Well, not only that, but be like, yeah, you just showed me the paper. Now I can write it. Of course I can. You know?
Right.
Right.
And
that was part
also
of my-
all it did was confirm that your assignment wasn't very good, because
Right.
the AI could just do it.
Right. So I'm pretty sure they rolled a lot of that back, because that would have, like, he straight up failed a whole bunch of students, and it was like right at the end
Yeah,
of,
that's ridiculous.
like, it would have prevented some of them from graduating, and it's like, dude.
Again,
It's just people getting mad.
not
People
wanting
getting
to
mad
change.
without, and not understanding the technology. Anyway,
Technology is getting crazy, though. There's
that's not to say. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. There's sites where you can like go and input your textbook, and it'll give you the answers for every single question in the book. I think that's nuts.
Yeah,
They should not have something like that anymore, or right now.
That's not to say. Yeah, that's not to say people aren't using it for school and that it's cheating. Because
Sure. It just means that they can't tell you; they have to show you.
Right.
That's what
Right.
a paper is. A paper is, tell me about the War of 1812. No, show me that you know about the War of 1812 and what was really important about it.
Which is
Act it out. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. No. I've seen people talk about how, like, there's going to be a lot more push towards, like, I guess oral papers or whatever reading.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, I get it. I'm glad I'm not in school, because I hated
Right.
that. I hated, like, you have to read your report out in front of
Right.
the class. For somebody like me, that's the worst thing.
Oh yeah,
But
no,
I
I mean,
get
and
it.
that'll be the easiest way. That'll be the like, you know, like, I can at least make them do presentations and do PowerPoints and whatnot, you know. So they have to at least read the information. It's like, that's still not a good way to demonstrate somebody's mastery of something, you know. Like, have them create something out of it, something cool, you know. Like,
Right.
have them make a video, have them make a news report, have them make a something, you know. I don't know.
My niece and my nephew, every time they want something expensive from their mom, make a PowerPoint presentation for her.
Yeah, oh yeah. One of my friends, their kid wanted to shave their head, and they had to do a PowerPoint on it before. It was like, The Rock looks cool, and Vin Diesel looks cool. They're like, trying to come up with all these reasons why. Save on shampoo.
That's funny.
That's good.
Yeah. Critical thinking. They had to come. They had to be persuasive. Basically had to create a persuasive essay to get what they want.
Right.
Hey,
Hey.
you know what else is cool?
What?
Spawn.
Spawn? Really?
It was at one point,
It was
yeah.
cool in the 90s.
Well, it could be cool again if there was a new Spawn movie that was going to be made by Blumhouse
Oh, really?
Productions.
I was going to say,
Grawlix was
is this a Tekken story? But Blumhouse actually exists. So
June new Spawn story. Oh, this is from 1997. Sorry, guys. New Spawn
you're right.
movie.
Oh, it was cool. You're right.
That was not cool. I hated that movie.
Had a great
I was so
soundtrack,
disappointed. A great soundtrack. That's the best thing that came of that movie. It's an amazing soundtrack. The worst thing that came of that movie, John Leguizamo was that clown. I hated it.
though. Yep.
Who else would have been better, though? I don't know. Danny DeVito?
Oh, no
I
one.
don't know.
No one would have been better.
Yeah,
It would have
yeah.
been terrible regardless because it was
Right,
just not
yeah.
a good movie.
Yeah, the Violator is just a weird character. So
Right. Spawn is such a whatever. He's so 90s though, but he's such a cool, seemingly cool character.
right.
Well, there's a new Spawn movie in the works, and Blumhouse, who will be producing it, teased a release window. So obviously, blah blah blah. We know what Spawn is. I'm getting this from comingsoon.net, and it looks like they're getting this from comicbook.com. So there you go. There's not a lot of information. So they're hoping to have the movie in theaters in 2025.
Okay.
However, the script is currently unfinished, which means it's not going to get finished until the writer's strike is over,
Right.
which is still going on. So who
That's
knows?
scary. That doesn't sound good for it. Because even if they would stop striking, are the same writers going to be on it? You know? And having mixed writers a lot, not always, but a lot of times, makes it feel disjointed.
I kind of feel. I think that's like normal at this point, like in the studio system. I think it's normal to have like a team of writers.
Oh no, yeah, a team, but but two different teams. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's necessarily like somebody will write a script. Like I know it starts with, somebody sells a script, but then it gets rewritten by another person or team of people, and then somebody else punches it up, and then the studio's like, I don't really like this, and somebody else it goes through. I think most scripts go through many hands.
Well, maybe that's why most
At
movies
least-
suck.
Oh, 100%. This is something I did notice.
Justice League.
Oh God. Well, when I first read this article, which is both interesting and honestly a little worrisome, but maybe he'll do great. The film is going to be directed by Todd McFarlane.
Oh no! Oh no!
He's never directed a movie. It's his directorial debut. So on the one hand, you're like, well, it's going to be the most pure Spawn because it's the movie's directed by Spawn's creator. On the other hand, dude, he's not the best storyteller.
No!
He's
No.
not the best storyteller, and he's never directed
He
a movie.
handed off most of that as soon as he could.
There's so many ways this could go bad. Okay, so in October 2022, Scott Silver, Malcolm Spellman, and Matthew Mixon had been hired to rewrite the screenplay. Who wrote it in the first place? I don't know who wrote it.
Was it
So somebody wrote it. It was unfinished. These guys were hired to rewrite the screenplay, which has been said to go more down an R-rated horror movie route than a superhero film. Well, yeah, that makes sense. That's what you'd want. It's set to have Jamie Foxx as Spawn.
What?
And Jeremy... Yeah, I mean, Jamie Foxx... Every time...
Jamie Foxx. Okay, never mind. I was thinking...
With the right director.
I had
still have
somebody else in my brain.
I don't know why I always picture... Because he's a little goofy looking. That's mean to say, but I always picture him in like non-serious roles, but actually, I think more often than not, he does serious stuff, and he's done pretty well. Like, he's not a bad actor.
No, yeah. His name brings to mind. I don't know why I associate his name with this other guy, but you know the guy that was in that was in the later Tremors movies. You know what I mean? That guy. He's Jamie Kennedy? No, I don't know who he is.
Oh, Jamie Kennedy? Yeah.
That's who I think of when I heard. That's what I thought of when I heard his name, and I'm like,
wow.
what? No.
Very different.
Very different. Very.
Oh, well, here's some stories from yesterday. Jamie Foxx still not himself following health crisis.
Oh.
I don't know. Well, whatever. That's not the type of story we usually do, but apparently he had some type of health crisis and he's whatever. Okay, but anyway. Oh, and Jeremy Renner is also set to play Detective Twitch in the film. Jeremy Renner.
You know what I want them to make a movie of? That'd be fun. The Head. You remember The Head?
Oh.
Kind of, yeah.
I want to see a movie where the guy has a giant head with an alien in it.
Live action?
Great. Yes.
Didn't they do Pluto Nash?
Is that the deal?
Isn't Pluto Nash the one where it's like a robot guy is all... Wasn't that Eddie Murphy? He's got like driving a man or whatever.
I don't know. If
I've
there
never
was,
seen it, but I've heard of it.
It was under my radar.
It was not
Or
good.
not in.
That did make me think of something.
Pluto Nash did? I'm sorry.
That and The Head, and it's gone.
Sorry.
Can't remember what it was offhand. No, it's not your fault. It was just a stray thought that would have been good to talk about, but it's gone because I'm...
Was it Evil Bunnies?
No.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it was. Hey. Wait, what's this? Do we want to talk about streaming services?
Sure.
If
We're just hitting all the greatest hits tonight, aren't we?
Yeah,
We're just like
yeah.
Spawn, something from the 90s, AI art.
Yeah. This is classic Grawlix.
Yeah.
Where are you at, people? We're giving you classic Grawlix.
Where you at? Yeah.
Is there not a demand for that?
What? That's weird.
Showtime officially folded into Paramount Plus in bid for streaming scale. So the Showtime linear channel, I'm guessing that's what they call like the Showtime channel that's actually on cable, will continue for now, although it's will continue for now with eventual plans to rebrand it with Paramount Plus programming. So this is from a couple days ago, and I'm getting this story specifically from the Hollywood Reporter. But Showtime has officially been folded into Paramount Plus, kicking off an push to expand Paramount Global's streaming scale. It's weird that Paramount Plus is still pushing to they're still pushing. I feel like they were the straw that broke the camel's back. That and
Their
the Warner
Peacock.
Brothers Discovery thing. Oh, and Peacock. Yeah, but
Peacock is like, What do they have? They have WWE and some NBC shows, right?
No, I think it's fair because Peacock kind of limped along, but they do have my mom has Peacock, and I know she watches some
It's
shows
cheap.
on there.
It's probably the least expensive of the streaming things,
Right.
and that gives it something, I think.
I feel like everybody was like talking smack on Netflix. They're like, oh, it's stupid streaming. And then they're like, well, we're going to do it better than you. And then everybody gets in there and they're like, oh, this is hard. And,
Yeah, really.
they're all like, okay,
And
we
you're
got
a decade behind, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's kind of stupid for all of them. I mean, streaming is the way to go, I suppose, but they all suck at it and they're ruining it. They should just sell all their stuff to Netflix when they're done with it, and then have Netflix and then like specialty ones like Shudder and animation or Funimation and stuff. You know what I mean?
Or hear me out, give it to Blockbuster. No?
No.
Blockbuster be like, great, So now you have to, all these streaming services, you have to order bundled together through your ISP. Maybe we can deliver it through cable. That's the future.
The future.
Yeah.
So apparently previously you could get Showtime bundled with Paramount Plus because, man, they still can't get off of the Kegel, they're Kegels. The cable system, I guess, whatever, model. Mm-hmm. But they're just going to fold it into the one service now. Although I think I did see other headlines from today or recently that Paramount Plus's price is going up. So,
So how does this impact like the Amazon model where like Amazon Prime wants to be cable television on the internet where they're like, you can watch all of the videos that Amazon Prime offers, but you can also buy the PBS channel and the Showtime channel and the Shudder channel.
Or Amazon Prime is the worst because they're like, you have all this on Amazon Prime, except you have to have the subscription to this and a subscription to that and a subscription to this, or it costs. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, so it's not on Amazon Prime. Don't lie to me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, companies still can't get away from that. And I mean, I guess I appreciate smaller bundles of like a couple things than just 70 channels that I'll never watch for 5 channels that I enjoy,
Right.
But, and it all has ads anyway. But like Disney Plus and Hulu, you can bundle together, and yeah, this Hulu you can get with the packages too. I think they had, at least they used to maybe have a HBO package, but like a Showtime package and whatever this and Stars and it's
when it started, Disney Plus and HBO Max were kind of pure, right? Like they were like, oh, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting the Disney catalog. And that includes the things that Disney owns, at least to a certain degree. And same thing with Max. It's like, or not Max, HBO Max. It was like, okay, I know what kind of quality I'm getting. I know what this, what's involved. All the DC stuff, all the HBO stuff. I want that, so I'm going to pay for that. And now they're like, Disney's like, we got to pull this show. We got too much stuff on here. Right. And the Discovery Warner Brothers thing, it was like, well, we gotta pull some of the stuff. Wait, that was part of what I actually wanted. That's right. Don't give me all these reality shows. I don't care. I want that back.
Right.
Well, and the stuff they had, and the stuff they had, I'm still surprised that like HBO Max, it's like you were the chosen one. They kind of became the gold child because I didn't watch them all the time, but what they had stuff I don't like, but they had the HBO original stuff, which is generally, I mean, that's prestige television, right? And the things they just, even when they had like weird different shows from channels, it was stuff that was generally Adult Swim. Yeah, cool. Give me Adult Swim stuff. All the DC stuff, like you said. Like, they just had a good collection, even like Looney Tunes and random stuff like that. Cool, okay.
Yeah, didn't they have the Studio Ghibli stuff on there somehow?
Yeah.
Which Disney owns, oddly enough.
They actually have a pretty good, I don't know, I think they had some of the Criterion stuff for a while, but that moved over elsewhere. But, like, they have a surprisingly decent, the Turner Classic Movies. This is going to tie into multiple things we can talk about quickly because we're coming up on an hour, I guess. But, like, they have a surprisingly decent little collection of like classic samurai and western movies and old school movies and Turner Classic Movie style stuff. And so, but they had to just trash it up with just the dregs, the worst of cable, the stuff that stuff. I have no interest in. Discovery, terrible. And it bums me out. I will probably pick it up again once they release some more stuff. But like, I canceled Max because, I mean, it's kind of a stance at this point. Just like, no, no. I'm glad we're still getting the Metalocalypse movie and the Venture Brothers movie. I'm super excited about that. But man, all that other crap.
Metalocalypse movie? I knew there was a Venture Brothers movie, not Metalocalypse.
I'll pull up the trailer for you later. They just released a trailer the other day. But that does tie into, where is it? Did you guys hear anything about? Okay. First, the TCM stuff, the Turner Classic Movies. Did you guys hear anything about that? You two? Any of the headlines?
Nope.
I don't watch news.
Okay. well, I mean, I know I don't either, but whatever news websites and stuff. Turner Classic Movies, they're kind of in a way one of the like last pure cable channels in that it didn't become Ancient Aliens History Channel. It didn't become freaking, trailer park renovations or whatever.
Storage Wars.
Storage Wars. It became old school movies,
Right.
classic movies all the time.
I even like their TikTok. Like their TikTok's fun because then there's like a soundbite from an old classic movie, and now you can use that. So,
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they have a brand. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, the Warner Brothers Discovery started gutting that brand.
No.
They they fired a ton of higher ups people, and so people are like, they're gonna gut this. They're gutting this like they're gutting everything else. Right. And
dancing like the stars used to.
right.
It's like all Dick Van Dyke like tapping.
Well, that's a lot of the arguments. It's like, what are you guys? It wasn't broken.
Yeah.
Right.
And is it really losing you guys that much money? Like, what are you guys doing? Just leave it alone.
Who are these people who don't understand brand consistency and why it's important?
Oh man, right? Warner Brothers Discovery. That guy, he does not get it. He does not understand. And whoever else is making decisions, they come in and just started swinging. Like, this isn't one of your renovation shows. You're running a business and you're handling brands that have been around for decades.
Move that bus. Yo,
Right.
I paid a fool who put who put a sink there right next to natural lighting.
So this riled a lot of, like, of course, film buffs who are going to be upset about this, but who works in the film industry, film buffs. So this riled a bunch of people up, and
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and Paul Thomas Anderson got a hold of the guy.
Yeah.
First they sent out like a public, I don't think it's here, but a public like
Like a press release
statement,
or
a message,
Oh,
yeah, about it, and then they contacted the guy directly, and they all had to sit down apparently, and they're like, "What are you doing, man?" So now,
You're like, it sure would be a shame if someone was to make, I don't know, Jaws disappear.
right, I'll replace the shark with a walkie-talkie.
That's right. What if E.T. did go home permanently, if you catch my drift?
Well, there was some other stories related to that, but the most recent news is, where is it at? And this is from Variety. Warner Brothers Discovery has set a partnership with filmmakers Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and Paul Thomas Anderson to help curate content for Turner Classic Movies. And additionally, they also, I think, hired back somebody or a couple of people that were running it. So at least on the surface, it looks like they're like, okay. We're going to try not to mess this up.
You know what they should do? They should search that. They should search that old content for something on antitrust and then add that into their file.
Yes, please.
It's ridiculous.
I tell you what, though.
It's just the Grapes of Wrath channel now.
Spielberg and Scorsese, their movies, like, they've been around for a long time. Paul Thomas Anderson, that one surprised me. Because he's kind of he's a younger compared to them.
You almost need like a musical theater guy too, because there's a lot of like Guys and Dolls, that kind of thing.
Right. Oh, I bet Scorsese and Spielberg, they're like, I bet they got that covered. They're all about all film except for
They're
Marvel
friends
movies.
with they're friends with Barbra Streisand, I think.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But I mean, Spielberg and Scorsese walk in, I imagine they got some sway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. How about this? This isn't as recent. This is from about 9 days ago from Deadline.
Ancient.
Tekken. No. Warner Brothers Discovery in talks to license HBO original series to Netflix.
What?
We talked about this early in the
What are
stream.
the rules?
Dude, the Warner Brothers Discovery, they're just like, we spent a lot of money, guys. Listen, we spent a lot of money. This guy, he doesn't understand brand consistency. We're just trying to keep our pants on.
Right. You remember how Sandman went directly to Netflix? That worked. HBO Max isn't working anymore. Send it to Netflix.
It's like anything that we can't figure out, send it to Netflix. They'll
Right.
make something out of it.
We're going to ruin it. We better give it to somebody else.
I mean, HBO's licensed their stuff out to other streaming services, but I don't think not since they did the whole Max push. But like some of the HBO series, I think you could get on Amazon Prime maybe. But
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like Sandman. Neil Gaiman's Sandman was a DC property.
Right.
So, like, that was the big surprise. It's like, why is this on Netflix? That seems like the perfect thing to have on your streaming platform.
and a lot of DC animated series have popped up on Netflix recently. Batman stuff and all that. But if they like HBO original series would be weird. But then again, like that shouldn't be a surprise because one of the first things they did was cancel Westworld and then ship it off to some free Tubi style TV streaming thing. It's like, what am I, trash to you? Like Westworld,
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's a huge budget show. But you know, whatever. But that's interesting, and I've seen a lot of people comment about there were, I don't know, just the perfect like conflicting tweets from a few years ago from somebody at HBO about like something about Netflix, like I don't remember. It's not worth mentioning because I can't remember it exactly. But yeah, it's interesting.
I feel like the whole syndication argument from the writer's strike really hits home when stuff like this happens, where it's like, listen, you know, you can only see it behind a paywall. Well, now we're going to send it to this free place so that we don't have to pay taxes on it. Well, now, you know, like you would think that residual wise, these actors and writers would be making bank, but that's not in the, like streaming's not considered.
Right.
Yeah, no, the streaming. They don't get. I don't think they get residuals on that. There's like some
Right.
laying.
That's
they pay
that's
somebody,
part
but-
of the thing that they're really like, we need to be able to get paid for residuals on streaming, or at least something comparable. Like we live in a world where streaming is the way that people watch this stuff.
Right.
You don't just broadcast this on cable anymore.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can find that real quick.
This isn't really necessarily have anything to do with that, but I was watching a thing or reading a thing the other day, and there was a lady who had just graduated from college as an accountant, and I can't remember what they call it even, but she's like, rich people, she's like, basically they just gamble all the time, but they call it something else so that it's a tax break. And and that kind of reminds me of what you were just talking about. Like they do all this stuff that doesn't really make any sense business wise, but it's all so they don't have to pay taxes.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Okay. One more thing. Yeah, let me close out these. Since we're on this big streaming kick, Max begins fixing its disrespectful creator credits. This was something people were kind of. This was something people were kind of upset about because HBO Max, the old app, had it to where, like, you know, you click on it and it'll be maybe starring whoever and written by it'll have at least the writer, maybe the writer, the director, and producer credits, so you can see who worked on it. Well, Max, the new app, when they rebranded, they just lumped everybody under creators. So like you watch a show and the creators were these people, and people got bent out of shape a bit about it. And it is weird. It is weird. Like, I guess I kind of get it, because we're in this content creator age of like people just make things and whatever. But this really riled people up at like, I don't know, writers guilds, we'll say.
Oh, weird.
That kind of thing. So, I think that was a little bit of like insult to injury while writers and stuff were going on strike.
Yeah, I can see that.
But it's not like people were like, I want to know who the grip and the food craft service people were on this film.
It's like I said, it's director, writer, producers maybe. But that makes sense. Like, I mean, I don't always think to look for the writers, but like director, like what's this? Yeah. Who do I know that director? Like, sure. But like just to lump a bunch of names and creators is maybe not as helpful.
Like, what do you do with the adaptations then? It's like, okay, sure, all these people made the movie for Fault in Our Stars, but then how do you credit John Green as the original author of the book? All based on John Green's thing. So is he a creator too, even though he didn't like bankroll the movie?
I guess it kind of depends. Like, they always figure that out specifically so they can get it down for the... And I don't think anybody expects the app to like read out all the credits as they roll in the movie necessarily, or like even the stuff.
That's my favorite thing about Amazon, though, is that
you can pull up the app.
Yeah, well, the X-ray feature where it will show you who is in the scene and what they've been in.
Right. No, yeah, that's super cool.
That's what Blu-ray was supposed to be.
Okay, interesting. This actually ties into the updated credit sections. This is from The Verge. The updated credit sections. This is according to whatever. I'm assuming somebody at Max said this is what they're going to do, and they're slowly working on it, but it's taking them time. Although it's like you had to undo a bunch of stuff to get to this point anyway. But the updated credit sections lay out familiar categories that allow each title's creator to be properly credited with the work. Blah 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 blah. The sections will include created by, directors, writers, producers, developed by, and based on source material where applicable. So that ties into what you were just asking about, Jesse. Mm-hmm. So yeah. And I'm sure that is a lot of work to... I mean, they still have a pretty decent-sized catalog. That's a lot of work to arrange, but like some of that... HBO Max didn't have it lumped as creators. Like, so some of that work was done for you, and you undid it when you launched Max as the separate app, which does not work as well.
So when Paramount Plus and Showtime combine, are they just going to be like some random name like Toby? Well, like, welcome to Toby. It's weird how we have these naming devices that we just run through. Like everything for a while was iTunes, this, that,
right?
eBooks, this, that, and then it was after Disney found the whole Plus thing. It was Plus. Everything was Plus, and now we're stripping all that away, and we're going with like
Max, Sam.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, drop the Max or drop the Plus. It's
right.
How it's
Paramount
just goes
streaming.
to show like how unoriginal, like when they started all just adding Plus. Even HBO Max was kind of like, you could tell that was an evolution of Plus. Somebody's like HBO Plus. They're like, what's more than Plus? Let's go Max. Like
right, yeah.
You can't get any more Plus than Max.
Because they were like, go, and then Plus, and then Max.
And then now.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like, go now, Max. They're just telling us a story. They're trying to tell us that Max needs help.
We need to find Max.
Where's Max?
Oh, okay. That's all I got for news stories.
That was pretty amazing how that all panned out.
It was pretty amazing. You know what else is amazing?
What?
So much that I could not decide on one thing. So we're gonna do two. First, your dog knows your voice. So Holly Root Gutteridge from the University of Lincoln co-authored a paper that published in Animal Cognition, asserting that dogs can recognize individual voices, which I kind of was like, duh, but they needed to prove it because that's how science works. So they did an experiment where they took 24 gray wolves that were caught and captured, and set up speakers in the enclosures that they were kept in. And 24 hours they played random human voices through the speakers. And they, after, the first little bit, started just ignoring it because it was just noise at that point. And then randomly they would play the voices of the people that were being the caretakers for the wolves. And when those voices would play, the wolves would lift their heads and perk their ears up because they recognize those voices as the people that are taking care of them. And again, I'm like, duh. But it's actually, I guess, kind of a big deal because it's the first time that science has proven that animals can differentiate humans. And they were like, if wolves can do it, then other animals can probably do it. And I'm like,
we
duh.
all look the same to wolves.
But we sound different.
Right.
So that's the first one that I thought everybody would be interested in. And then the other one is that there was an international team of researchers that ran a study where participants, I forget how many, there were like hundreds, they had them switch to a Mediterranean diet for 18 months, which is a lot of fish and vegetables and fruits and stuff. And those that maintain the diet, because they have to have some people that are controlled that actually don't, but the ones that did lost an average of 2.3 kilos. And for every 1%, I'm sorry, and they did brain scans before and after this whole thing. For every 1% of body fat that was lost, the participants' brains appeared almost 9 months younger than their chronological age would suggest it would.
I gotta hit the treadmill.
Right. Slowed signs of brain aging were also associated with lower levels of liver fat and improved lipid profiles, but they're not sure yet if that relationship is superficial or if it means something. So they need to do some more studies. But either way, losing the weight is good for you and your brain. So, yep.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much of your body gets clogged up by fat. I read another study before that a lot of lung capacity gets filled up with fats, extra fats and stuff, and cholesterol. So that's why fat people that can't breathe very well. So.
You had told me the dog one before, but the dog one, my reaction is like, duh, of course. Like anyone who owns a dog can tell you they can recognize your voice, and they can recognize voices that they don't know. And
right.
But I guess the point is, well, yeah, one, science proving it, and also like in somewhat non-domesticated animals, it's also true.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's why they use wolves instead of regular dogs.
And it is interesting because animals, I mean, dogs bark and make sounds, but they don't, like, I don't know. Yeah, they don't talk, so I suppose that's a specific kind. I don't know, whatever.
I have a question though. Right now, just for Jesse, because he's the only one that has an animal at this point. Can you tell your dog's barks apart from other dogs' barks?
Well, disclaimer: I don't have a dog anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I mean, like, because there'll be times where I'll hear Torix, right? Mm-hmm. Just because he had a very specific bark. Same thing with Echo.
Right.
Like Echo is throatier, and yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could tell. I could tell Bonsai apart from other cats, for sure. But
general dog barks and cat meows and stuff. Like in general, a lot of them have similar sounding, like it's the same. But some animals do have like unique characteristics to how they'll bark or meow. And yeah, I think like with Bonsai, if he was with other cats and they were making noises, I could maybe pick him out. I could have picked him out, you know?
Uh-huh.
Dogs, I think dogs actually might be, Also, cats get weird, somewhat unique meows. Because
Yeah.
we used to have a cat that would say mama. Like, sometimes they just have weird meows
Yeah. Yeah.
that are kind of unique. Dogs seem like, depends on it. Big dogs have, big and small dogs have different barks. But
it also
they're
seems
very
like how
similar.
they move matters, like how they move around changes how
Yeah,
their
yeah.
sound is. And
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I was just thinking we might be more speciesist than animals because they can tell us apart, but maybe we can't tell them apart.
But we can't tell them. Yeah. It is. I think it is harder, I mean, I think I could, but I could be wrong too. That I suppose we need a scientist.
Yep.
But yeah, anyone who's had an animal, particularly a dog, because cats generally don't come running if they hear you. But if you have a dog, or you live with somebody who has a dog, and you're sitting there talking, blah blah blah, but then the dog's owner, whoever is in there, comes in and starts talking, then the dog comes running, they know. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
And the brain fat. I could tell you what, I do feel dumber. I've gotten very large. I've tried to get my weight down, but I definitely do feel like it has an effect cognitively. So
Yeah.
that's
it's
not
gotta
a huge
affect your
surprise.
ADHD, I don't think that I ever felt the impacts of ADHD when I was younger and smaller and all of that. And now that I'm older and fatter, man, I can't focus worth a darn.
Right. Right. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I've been having a lot of focus, and I think it's just because I've been on the computer for 3 or 4 years. Working from home, is definitely not necessarily the best thing, but I don't think it's just that.
I don't know. I don't know what it means by that because I get hyper focused on things, but then I get easily distracted if I run into something else in that focus, then my focus will switch, but then I'll be really focused on that until it switches. So I don't know what that is.
Right. Well, and that's ADHD. That's just chasing the rabbit.
Right.
The rabbit's now under the bush. Oh, let's find out about bushes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you, you two.
Yeah.
What?
You're welcome. I was going to say that's how you end up with a vacuum in the bathroom, and you're like, why is the vacuum in the bathroom? And you're like, well,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Who doesn't have a vacuum in their bathroom? People who are skinny and don't have ADHD, I guess.
I think.
But are their bathrooms vacuumed?
I think we just made a scientific discovery about ADHD and fatness. That's the title of our scientific paper, our research paper, ADHD and fatness.
I think we'd actually get a lot of people to read that.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
You know what? We could start a podcast about ADHD and fatness and probably go gangbusters for a minute, and then they'd find something else to do.
They'd find something else, and then the few that manage to stick along, we'll all go on diets and become healthy, and they'll be like, "Man, you guys changed." What do you want?
Yeah. How ADHD and fatness worked for me. That'll be their podcast. Will be the ADHD fatness diet podcast.
Oh man, this doesn't count as streaming services. Stitcher. Stitcher? Stitcher is closing down.
Yeah, I saw that.
If you're a podcast listener and if you're watching or listening to us,
because
you
I had
might
Stitcher
be.
for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-Spotify,
wasn't bad.
I preferred it, and then other apps came out that were kind of better than Stitcher, so I just kind of migrated. But I always kind of still paid attention to Stitcher.
As a podcaster, Stitcher beat. Well, Stitcher was in the game well before Spotify jumped in the podcasting game. But they beat Apple even, and Google. Google still doesn't have a good podcast connect, but they beat them to a nice back end for the podcasters themselves to have direct control on how their podcast appears in Stitcher. And they had probably affiliate program, but they had programs like you could do, and they do like featured stuff. Like Stitcher beat the big directories to like actually working directly with the podcasters by quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
So I always appreciated Stitcher, and their app
So they just
was pretty
closed,
decent.
or did somebody buy them?
No, I think they're just closing down. I don't know that they necessarily
That's
got bought out.
Kind of a bummer.
You'd think it'd be... Well, I think after Spotify dumped millions and millions and millions into podcasting, and it doesn't really seem to have been worth it for them so far. I don't know how many companies are like, yeah.
Except that I think they are trying to take over, and they are well on their way with
Right.
this Spotify app thing where, like, we'll just host your podcast. Just come to Spotify.
They've... Oh, right.
know?
Right. Yeah. We've talked about that a bit, especially like video podcasting. They kind of jumped on that. But I mean, they definitely, not that they didn't, they had the infrastructure in there to reach the viewers in the app because of Spotify being a thing. So like they had kind of that infrastructure there, but they definitely bought their way into like competing with Apple Podcasts.
They're first to legitimately do it, in terms of that.
Right. Because even Google, like, they still don't know what they're doing. Like, it was such a mess, like, especially at the beginning. There was not really any way to directly submit your feed. They
Right.
just have to scrape it. And then at a certain point, you could do things on your website to make it more likely to get scraped. And eventually, they kind of got with it. But even that, I think they're shifting towards YouTube for podcasts now, which is,
Right.
I don't know. Google doesn't know what
Makes
they're
more
doing.
sense for Google, but that's the problem with
Right.
Google is that they can't, they've got too many things that they can't really
Right.
care about podcasts. Like,
Right. Facebook made it the most feeble attempt for a short time. Do you remember
Right.
that? They were trying,
yeah, I remember.
like you could, we had our podcast feed in there for a while. What happened to that? I don't think it even works anymore. Like,
Yeah.
man, Facebook's such a joke.
They just unroll a
back to-
feature and then they just pretend it never existed.
Huh? What?
What? What thing you liked? I don't know what that was.
Anyway, I thought that was related. And Stitcher's like, that might have
Yeah.
been interesting to somebody.
Oh, we've
I was a little surprised.
promoted the fact that Grawlix was on Stitcher. I think it was even in our banner for a while, where like you
Right.
can subscribe in here and here and here.
They were one of the major players, I think,
Yeah.
earlier on. Yeah. Oh, I'm actually gonna have to go revamp some. I'm sure we still have a Stitcher link on our.
We probably
website.
do have a Stitcher link somewhere. Yeah.
I have to go revamp that. There we go. We can sign
There it
off
is.
now.
Yep.
Turner's
It's time
here.
to go.
He's here. It's metal in your lungs, but he also agrees that Facebook sucks.
It does.
And he always tunes in through YouTube. So yeah, good. All about it. Nice to see you, Turner. We are wrapping this up though because we're going a little long.
Yeah, let's stop it.
Melanie hasn't said anything for a while, which means she's done. She's ready to go.
I'm already
All right.
researching something else. Come on.
Oh, the rabbit's under the bush.
Oh yeah, the rabbit's there. Did that rabbit again?
Jesse, you got anything coming up or anything you want to mention before we jump out of here?
Nope. Summer's going fast.
Yeah, it is.
That's all I know.
Well, I had ambitious plans to release a new song every day of July on my YouTube channel.
Oh wow, is that gonna happen?
No, it's not.
No.
No, because that's not even just a new song every day. I have lots of new stuff I could put out. I don't know that it's a new song every day worth of material.
That's a lot of
And-
songs.
And for whatever reason, I was like, I want to grow my YouTube channel. It's going to be on YouTube, which is... What is it? YouTube.com/supersciencemusic or @supersciencemusic, because you can do user at things on YouTube now. But that's not just a song. That's also a song in a video or something. And I could just do a still, but I don't like doing just a still. That's not good enough. I got to do something, an animation or something. So... No, it's not. It's not going to happen. A month and a half ago.
A week would be really ambitious, but a song a day. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I know it is. It is. I have a lot of songs close to done, but like they're not really mastered. So I do plan to release several things on my Super Science YouTube channel. Hopefully this coming month, but not a song a day.
Right.
It's like, it's going to be Halloween in July. I'm going to have spooky songs every day. Nope.
No, that's a lot. Ooh.
But that's also why.
And then also, you're doing the summer months. You should save that for actual Halloween when everybody's like starting to be inside more.
Halloween's so far away, though.
I know. It means you have time to plan, Randy. You actually have time to make this happen.
But this sounded like a great idea a month ago when I thought of it.
Of course it did. The rabbit was under the bush at the time.
You're right. It was.
You knew everything about bushes.
I think, honestly, it started because I had found like a motion graphics I made, which was like a Halloween-themed Super Science logo that I was going to slap on the beginning of that. Like, I was going to do a Halloween theme song cover for YouTube last Halloween, but then I got sick. Mm-hmm. I think I come across that and was like, oh, I never got to use that.
Oh, that was a
Halloween.
Great idea. What happened?
Is Halloween in July a thing? And I looked up and it kind of is a thing. I'm going to do it.
Right.
Yeah, you got carved watermelons.
Oh, that sounds... Oh, I don't like that.
Why not?
Watermelon sucks.
You don't have to eat it. I'll eat it. Just carve it.
You're right. Carving watermelons sounds cool. Actually, it sounds less gross than carving pumpkins, because pumpkins have like stringy nast.
Yeah.
Except for all the sugar. You like the sugar? Would probably be like, oh, it's sticky.
Yeah, so sticky. Oh, I hate sticky hands. I'm a grown adult man. I'm a grown adult man.
We ain't sticky hands.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for listening. Hey, Turner, thanks again for tuning in. If you want to hear more or see more, go to grawlixpodcast.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter. Technically, the account's still there. Throw a /Grawlix podcast and you'll find it. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody.